He felt riding a MotoGP bike would be easier than an F1 car. With the longest recorded period between blinks being 9 minutes.
No
That's
way.
nearly 5 laps of Mugello without blinking. And it goes without saying that there's
Oh, LMNTT. Just looking at those footage makes me, I don't know, I want to puke. LMNTT racers are straight up fucking psychopath. Greetings, this is your Mayor Viren. I've been riding for almost 8 years now in a country that is known for terrible traffics. From scooter to now owning a SF250, I've been fascinated by the exciting and freeing experience on the bike. But it's also a difficult and dangerous machine if you don't respect the torque, the power, and treat it well, while multiplying the consequences when you get into an accident. So I've always wondered what it's like to operate these beautiful death machines on the elite level. So today we'll be looking at the science behind MotoGP racers. Let's get started. Yeah, listen to that.
This is the pinnacle of motorcycle racing, where machines generate over 300 horsepower.
300 horsepower. How much is it compared to mine? I think mine is like 30? Not even 30. So their power is more than 10 times than mine. God damn.
Weighing just 100.
Hold up. Wait, what? Wait, it's the same weight. It's almost the same weight as mine. My SF250 weighs 161 kilograms, so mine's even heavier than theirs. But their bike produces more than 10 times of my horsepower. Damn!
60 kilos and routinely exceed 220 miles an hour.
Jesus Christ, that's almost 3 times as my top speed. Because the fastest that I've gone before was 131 kilometers per hour in a straight line on GPS. Everything is a blur, and the moment you blink, you miss so much. It literally feels like teleporting. Imagine, I can't. You know what? I can't imagine 3 times that speed. Like, no. I'll admit it's fun, but even then my body is kind of telling me that, whoa, you know, you're not panicking, you're not losing control, but it's almost like instinct is trying to tell you that, hey, maybe not, you know what I mean? But imagine 3 times that speed. Damn.
220 miles an hour. This is MotoGP. But these engineering marvels aren't the most impressive part of the spectacle. It's the superhuman riders who control them. These athletes don't just ride motorcycles quickly, they push the boundaries of human capability.
Look at that knee. God, wait, am I tripping? This is a game, right? Fidelity looks weird, and his knee is clipping. What game is this?
Boundaries of human capabilities in ways that science is still trying to fully understand, all while riding at hyperspeeds on the very edge of traction. Today we're exploring 5 attributes that make MotoGP riders superhuman, which when combined puts them among the most extraordinary athletes on the planet. And as a quick aside, I'll also be helping Insta360 launch a special new product, the Ace Pro 2 MM93 edition.
How are these cameras?
More on that later. Up first, their elite level fitness, strength, and agility. Watching on TV, they make it look easy. So much so that a friend of mine who follows F1 once made the comment that he felt riding a MotoGP bike would be easier than an F1 car.
I would say, logically, bikes are way more difficult. What's the word? Body to weight? No, not body. Weight to horsepower ratio, right? And another point that I would like to bring up is that we have 2 wheel less than F1 cars. So it's not just the suspension, it's not just the amount of friction you have going at that speed. And then look at the size difference of the wheel on a bike. I mean, no doubt F1 cars, they still go really fast and you'll have to take on all the G-force when you're turning. And also, I think blinking is another thing because like I said before, you literally teleport. I'm not joking. No doubt F1 cars are hard, obviously. However, on a bike, you're dealing with a more finicky throttle, gas, you're dealing with less traction, and also you're not really sitting on this. Like, look at them. You are not sitting. You're moving around constantly while taking the same amount of G-force when cornering. So you're literally doing gymnastics while getting thrown around by physics. So I'd say motorcycles are much harder. That's what I think.
Now, this comment was nothing more than naivety, but it does speak to the point that many people don't realise how phenomenally fit these riders are. In fact, in Queensland, Australia, a scientific study was performed at the University of the Sunshine Coast, where Chris Vermeulen was put through his paces to see how fit he really was. And after doing that, they said, "We were unsure what the demands of MotoGP riding were, and these results tell us the demands are very high." Going on to...
Yeah, you know, another thing that I think is incredible is that, from my understanding, science still don't really understand why motorcycles are the way they are. So instead of the science providing the answer, I think for MotoGP, for motorcycles, I think it's the riders that are doing the previously thought impossible, then science are able to prove it. I think that's the case from my understanding. So this is literally the frontier of physics, and it is done real time by these very, very skilled riders. So yeah, incredible.
To say that the test and the stunning results put Vermeulen on par with some of the world's fittest Olympic athletes. And that was 17 years ago. These days, the level is even higher as bikes become faster and subject riders to even greater forces, and as each rider tries to raise their level to stay at the front. And that fitness level needs to be high, because a MotoGP race is a grueling test. Riders will spend 40-odd minutes near maximum heart rate as they deal with the forces and stresses put on them to get these machines around the lap as fast as possible, with some riders going as high as 200 beats per minute. Whether it's the extreme forces of braking on a MotoGP bike from over
I cannot get this. Like, as an average weak pleb rider, I cannot understand this. Like, I know the physics behind it and the reason, but the absolute size of their balls to do this. You're braking with one wheel going 300 kilometers per hour before a turn with other riders, your competitors, right beside you. And you just have to slow down enough. So they're towing the line between I'm flying out and slowing too much and lose. Like I said, you also have to factor in all the people beside them. It's ridiculous, man.
220 miles an hour, the strength and stability needed to move while maintaining full control,
exactly.
or the strain on the lower body and core as they maintain the extreme riding positions we now see.
Literally.
These riders do not get much rest. Through an intense training and nutrition routine, riders maintain an impressive balance of strength and stamina. And in a sport where every gram matters, they manage this while staying as light as possible. And riders are performing these feats wrapped in thick leather race suits, at times riding in temperatures over 30 degrees Celsius.
Oh, it's so bad. If you have never experienced that, it feels like torturing when you're sitting in traffic, high humidity in my country, and all the cars are throwing heat at you. Your bike itself is throwing heat at you, and you're wearing protective gear inside your helmet. It's torture. Straight up.
And if a rider gets injured, there's no 6-month layoff like other sports. Every point matters, and history has shown many times the incredible resilience riders have.
Wait, why? That I don't understand. Wait, why? Oh, here it is. Why can't they have cannot have long injury rest periods? Because the sports operates on a tightly packed high-stake calendar where missing a race due to injury can significantly impact champions' standing and team performance. What? Riders are expected to return as quickly as possible, often within weeks, due to the physical and mental demands of elite racing. For example, returned to racing over 2 weeks after breaking his collarbone. 2 weeks after breaking his collarbone. That I do not know. What the fuck? As one writer noted, pain alone is not enough for a reason to miss a race. I mean, what do you expect? The people who are doing 300 kilometers racing other people, you gotta be a certain type of crazy to do that.
Many times the incredible resilience riders have to keep the fight going.
Yeah, that's insane. I didn't know
Withstanding
about
the
that.
physical test alone is impressive, and we've only just scratched the surface. Next is their unbelievable level of precision.
Yep.
They're wrestling 300 horsepower monsters, putting their bodies through an extreme workout for 40 minutes straight at speeds that would make most brains melt, all while dancing along the very edge of traction.
Exactly.
But what might be the most impressive thing about that is how these riders can manage that strain while at the same time showing the poise and precision of a ballet dancer.
Right?
From the accuracy of their bike placement around the lap, the timing of their actions to create the very fastest line through a corner, the deftness of touch and control to maximize grip potential, and the reaction time.
Yeah, like you can't quantify that. That's the difficult thing that I feel like most people cannot understand. It's same as cars, but just harder. You're literally twisting on the throttle, moving your body around with G-force on you. You have to make the adjustment you want in a split second. Like, what the fuck? I believe MotoGP and probably F1 too is probably those type of races that are only done by the gifted. When I mean gifted, I'm not talking about how, they're given these abilities or no. I'm simply talking about that they have that little edge, maybe, whether it's mental, whether it's maybe physical, whatever. But I feel like you have to be gifted in a way so that after all the training, practicing, the gifted part starts to shine. That's what I believe.
Times of the best athletes in the world, which helps them manage any sudden changes in their situation. When you consider the average race lap is around 1 minute 40, riders will display consistency within 1 or 2.
Look at that. That's like a split second after the first lap. He's pretty much doing the same time every lap. And the 16, 15, he's still doing those times consistently. That's what's insane about it. If you've ever done a long distance drive, you'll feel how much your ability to control, to sense, to react have degraded. So again, just insane. It's ridiculous.
0.2 of a second per lap. What's even more impressive is how they can manage the pace when they want to. You'll often hear riders talk of managing the gap to the rider behind, where they may consciously knock a couple of tenths off their lap time so they're only riding as fast as they need to be. Again, consider just what these riders are dealing with over a lap on one of these machines, and throughout all of that they're able to make fractional changes to what they're doing to make this much difference to their lap time. It's crazy. And one key component to precision is their vision. One remarkable study over multiple seasons researched how riders are using their eyes differently, or rather, how they're not using them. An average blink is about 0.15 seconds, which at the top speeds seen in MotoGP, this would mean a rider is traveling 15.
This is what I'm talking about. I'm going a third of their speed, and I feel like I just cast a spell or something. The moment you blink and open your eyes, everything looks different. It's ridiculous. It's scary.
Meters in that time.
Oh my god, 15 meters. Like I said, teleporting.
These riders have evolved to blink far less for maximum concentration. The study looked at LCR Honda riders over 6 seasons, recording just how much they blink throughout each race. Where a normal person might blink every 4 to 6 seconds, on average, MotoGP riders blink every...
No, 4 to 6 seconds? God. Wait, I need to know. Can you train for that? Can you train to blink less? What the fuck? You're literally doing yogic meditation from preventing yourself to blink. Focus staring. There's no way. It's not safe or advisable. Yeah, you get dry eyes, right? What? How the fuck?
3 minutes during a race, with the longest recorded period between blinks being 9 minutes.
No
That's
way.
nearly 5 laps of Mugello without blinking, and all without any adverse effects to the eyes, I might add.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I feel like some of these, or most of these riders at the top level, if not most, are gifted in some way. There must be something different about them. From what I've seen, to train to blink less is more willpower and focus, rather than after long periods of training, I just don't need to blink my eyes anymore. But these people are doing it while, again, doing gymnastics on a 300 horsepower death machine.
Okay, so I'm sure your mind is already blown, but just quickly before we get to the next point, I have to show you what Insta360, who are sponsoring this video, have just released. To celebrate Marc Marquez becoming an Insta360 ambassador, they've just released the Ace Pro 2 MM93 edition. It has the same fantastic feature set as the standard Ace Pro 2, but with some really nice touches. You get this lovely custom box, and on opening you're greeted with a pre-printed autograph card. Mine will be framed on the mantle next to my children. And under that you've got a few extra accessories as part of this edition too.
Mount.
You get 2 batteries, a couple of adhesive mounts for the bike, a chin mount, a standard mount to use with it, and an SD card, among a few other bits. On the camera itself, there's some nice details, like the Marc Marquez on the body, the 93 on the wind guard, as well as the shutter button, and some extra red details just dotted around. I also noticed there's a really cool little exit screen during shutdown too. And if you capture GPS data from a third-party device, you can sync it seamlessly with your videos in the Insta360 app with this unique MM93 design. And like I said, it comes with the same quality feature set as the standard Ace Pro 2. I've been using one for a little while now to get some great POV shots of my riding, where the 157-degree wide-angle lens really captures the speed of those brisk rides out. I've previously tested the low light performance.
I don't like the fisheye.
I was impressed with how well it was lit, as well as the lack of noise, which is a common enemy for low light shooting.
Right.
And
GoPros are not good with low light
sunset, and I was amazed to see that it took what little light there was and turned it into this glorious skyline.
Yeah, when I was filming in the afternoon, evening, you can't see shit, even though it's still pretty bright. On camera, it's just dark.
Feel for grip and the ability to find and stay near the limit. Generally speaking, the closer and longer you can dance along the limits of grip over a lap, the faster you're going to go. And MotoGP riders are the best in the world in this regard. Through a combination of what they feel through the different touch points with the bike, the forces they sense on the body, as well as what they can see and hear, they have a sixth sense for where the limit is. And
yeah, exactly. Like I said, because structurally, 4 wheels is much more stable than 2. There's no meters on your dashboard telling you, oh, here's how much traction you have right now. Oh, today's temperature is how many degrees, and compared to the road, the racetrack is this degree, and the tire you're using is this degree, so you have this much traction. There's nothing like that. You literally have to feel it. It makes no sense, but it makes sense when you're the one riding it. You just feel it. And also, for 40 minutes ride like MotoGP, with the very aggressive braking, there's gotta be some degradation on the tires, right? There's gotta be 40 minutes riding at top speed. Yeah, there's gotta be some degradation on the tires and maybe the brakes as well, honestly.
An unreal level of fidelity to consistently find and dance along that limit. From how they modulate brake pressure through the braking zone and into the corner, how they make micro adjustments with steering as braking forces and lean angle overlap, the millimeter adjustments they make with the throttle to get as much power down to the ground as early as possible, and the instinctive movement of the body to position their mass in the perfect place for optimal speed and grip. All riders will display this level of feel and adaptability over a lap, but it's how they manage the changes in grip over a race that's most impressive. MotoGP tyres will have a performance drop-off over a race, and riders know this. So they manage their pace, unconsciously monitoring the feel they're getting from the tyre to know how much they're stressing it and how much they're keeping in reserve for the latter part of the race. And then there's change.
Oh, I've never thought of that. So it's almost like a running race, but you're not just conserving your own energy, your own stamina, your own physical, you're also conserving the bike's condition. Oh wow, I never thought about that. That makes sense. Yeah.
Changeable conditions where riders are forced to deal with grip levels that change lap by lap and even corner by corner, all while staying close to the ever-changing limit to set the best lap times possible. Too. And as these changes are happening, riders will know what tiny adjustments they need to make to their riding style to suit. This is a skill that is truly unquantifiable, where they have a near mystical connection with their machine. And every so often, you'll have a rider come along that has supreme talent in this respect.
Exactly.
So much so that even other MotoGP winners are baffled by what they do. Cal Crutchlow, speaking of his time at Honda with Marc Marquez, once said, "It's difficult to understand how he does it. The way he can control the bike, the moments that he has, the way he slides it, his use of the rear and front brake is something very, very incredible. If you try to do what he does, it doesn't end well."
Yeah, exactly. Because like he said, you feel it. Every motorcycle rider feels it, but you don't feel it the way they do. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like these people are gifted in some way, especially compared to, well, not us, because maybe I'm gifted, just, lack the training. But these are MotoGP racers. Even they are baffled by just how ridiculous some of their competitors were able to perform in a way that they cannot feel. So again, I think my theory is right.
Up next is their ability to battle and the unique mental attributes needed to do that. Everything we've discussed to this point has been around the incredible things riders are doing around the lap, but there's something you need to consider in all of this. They're doing it while being surrounded by equally hungry and aggressive riders that want nothing else than to make the next pass. And they're all riding at these same incredible speeds on the very edge of traction, just millimeters from each other, and sometimes even less than that.
You have to respond in time to dodge that.
The lap at great speed, which is a huge achievement in itself.
Without sliding out yourself.
In a heated battle with other riders who all want to finish higher up the order than them. This in itself brings a whole different set of skills. Calculated aggression to be able to make a pass at the right time and make it stick. Lightning fast decision making to see an opportunity and take it, however tiny. Anticipating what their opponent is going to do based on their position and body language, or tactically setting up passes multiple corners in advance based on what they're learning from following that rider. And they do all of this while remaining calm, composed, focused, and spatially aware to keep themselves in the race to the very end. And through that, they're also stepping into the unknown time and time again, calculating the risks as they go, many times not fully knowing if they're actually going to make it at the other side of a corner as they brake as late as they dare or take a line they've never taken so that they can be the ones picking up the silverware. Which leads nicely onto our last point, the sheer risks they're taking. Now, MotoGP machines and the tracks they ride on are as safe as they've ever been. And it goes without saying that there's...
Oh man, TT. Just looking at those footage makes me... I don't know, I want to puke. Honestly, like, if you've ridden before and been humbled by the bike before, you'll know. Ironman TT racers are straight up fucking psychopath. Look at that shit. It's brick walls. It's trees. Bro, you're probably not going to survive a crash like that with half of the speed they're going.
Competition that stands alone when it comes to riders risking their lives.
I want to puke.
But with the speeds these machines now ride at, the huge forces at play through every phase of the corner, and the fact these riders are dancing along the limits of grip while bashing fairings at triple-digit speeds, it's safe to say this is still no tiddlywinks competition. Every time riders strap on their helmet, they don't truly know if it will be the last race they ever start. Casey Stoner has previously opened up about being terrified at times throughout his career, in particular when he had to push, saying that he was scared through every single corner. They make it look easy, they look smooth and in control most of the time, but make no mistake, the dangers are huge and the fears very real. And this is why their physical condition is so important, not just to be capable of riding these machines, but because fatigue means a drop-off in concentration and performance, and that means more mistakes, and that means more risk. A mistake in tennis, for example, may just mean hitting the ball out of play. You lose the point. In MotoGP, mistakes can literally be career-ending. Looking at these 5 traits then, each stand alone as hugely impressive abilities in themselves. They need the physical condition of an elite Olympic athlete, the precision and agility of a gymnast, the feel and reactions of a rally driver, the fight and adaptability of a boxer, and like a mountain climber, the ability to stay calm and in control in the face of huge risk. Hopefully you can see now why I feel this puts MotoGP riders among the most extraordinary athletes on the planet.
Agreed.
And the way they now use their bodies in particular to go fast is like nothing we've ever seen before. And in this video here, I cover exactly how MotoGP riders are taking body position to new extremes as they try to gain any little advantage they can.
Yeah, again, like I said, this is probably the frontier of physics, right? But anyways, great video. As per usual, the link to the original video will be down in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.